everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of misty morning and focus, and that's it. So clean. It's got that bergamot. I love it. I hope you guys are joining me with your cup of coffee or maybe a cup of tea, or as I always say, maybe something harder. Depends on what part of the planet you're on. So today we're going to be talking about Olympus. I was going to do a video about this at the beginning of the week. I took a look at the specs that were coming out, and they were different than the specs that I was given at the time. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go and just get rid of this video completely, and I'm going to redo it towards the end of the week when we get everything, let's say, solid. All right. I didn't want to throw Olympus, or now the new OM Digital Solutions, under the bus if it was not correct. It wouldn't be right to do that. So for the first time out of like 570 videos, I deleted a video. I just thought it was the right thing to do. Anyways, before I get into all of the specs and what I think about it and get your opinions on it, I want to say that if you haven't went and downloaded my ebook as of yet, go check it out. 10 tips at making tack sharp images. There's something there for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a professional or a pro-am or even an amateur. You're going to glean something from that ebook. And the price is free. You can't beat free, right, guys? Go pick it up. Go over to JCristina.com/ebook. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook. Also, if you have not cleaned your image sensor as of late, you probably should do that. You don't want to sit there in post-production and take out all those little dots and scummy stuff and lint in your skies right after the fact. You don't want to do that. Time is money. You don't want to waste your time. So clean your image sensors. It's super safe, easy. I created a product about 7 months ago, I guess, 8 months ago now. It's called Aurora Camera Care. It's carried all over the world by small mom and pop camera stores, as well as B&H Photo and Video and Amazon Prime, and of course on my website, JCristina.com. Go pick them up. There's a kit specific to Micro Four Thirds, like we're talking about today, as well as APS-C and full frame. So whatever camera you have, we got you covered. Doesn't matter if it's mirrorless or DSLR. Anyways, guys, let's get into this. So this camera is the very first release, the very first camera that OM Digital Solutions is releasing for 2021. Now, I think that's important because if you don't know, basically, Olympus broke off their camera division and sold it to JIP. This was at the end of 2020, around December or so. And by 2021, a new company was formed called OM Digital Solutions. And that's who is making this Olympus Pen EP7 that we're talking about today. Now, the EP7, people have been waiting for a while. The old EPL7 was probably made, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know. It's a while ago. And then they've obviously made other P revisions, P5, so on and so forth. But a lot of people really love the pen because of its retro vibe, its retro feel. And I personally absolutely love the retro everything, as you can probably tell. I'm like the retro sync guy, the retro everything. I just like it. I think it's cool. And I like a camera that has that old school film feel to it, that has all the knobs on it so that you could make manual corrections or changes without having to look at the back of the screen. I don't like looking at the back of the screen ever. I'm not a chimper. I know what I'm taking when I take it. I know what it's going to look like before I pull the trigger. All right, because I've been doing this for a long time. Anyways, so being able to make those modifications while you're shooting just by turning or clicking a knob is really helpful. And plus, the aesthetic has that old school retro film camera vibe that I really love. So that's one of the reasons I'm a fan of Fujifilm, because they have that in spades, right? Well, so does Olympus with their pen, now OMD whatever. Anyways, Olympus, let's call it the Olympus Pen EP7. So let's look at some of the specs. Now, it starts out with a 20 megapixel sensor, which is kind of nice. It has the TruePic 8 instead of the 7 of years ago, image processor, which is supposed to be more powerful. It does have continuous AF, which is nice, whereas it's going to prioritize on either face or eye. It has a face or eye algorithm in there, like some of their higher end professional grade Micro Four Thirds editions or cameras that they have. Now, it also has 5-axis image stabilization, whereas the old ones had 3-axis. This, of course, has 5-axis, and it also has 4K. So you'll be able to shoot 4K with the camera. At 20 megapixels, you're on the cusp of 4K, right? So it's there, they could pull it through, but it's just enough. Now, they also talk about having Wi-Fi and Bluetooth that really helps with connectivity with their OI share, their software, their smart application, right? Their smartphone software or iPad or whatever software. Now, it does work on Android as well as iOS, and it gives you functionality to upload, download images as well as take photos and whatnot by using it as a device, just like the back of the camera. Now, the back of this camera does flip down. It doesn't flip to the side or doesn't flip up, it flips down. So for the most part, unless you're using like an L bracket to get this camera to the side, you're gonna end up having a post or pole in the middle of your shot or in the middle of your screen if you use a tripod. I just am not a fan of that. I think at this point, at 2021, just have the thing flip to the side, have a fully articulating back panel. All right? It's just, we're there now, guys. We're there, okay? Also, what I find interesting is they always talk about this dedicated dials on the top or on the back face of it that controls the modes or the filters. It's very amateuresque, which is fine, but that's kind of what this camera is all about. And you can change like your art filters, your art effects, as they call them, as well as your photo story layouts and your yada, 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 right? Change all those things, but from the back of the camera. Once again, being able to make those changes on the fly is kind of cool, but by just playing that up, it's just, it's like Instagram or Snapchat-ish, I don't know. Anyways, you can get accessories for it at the time of purchase or after the fact. You can get a genuine leather body jacket, as they call it, as well as camera cases and lens covers. And of course, you can get an electronic viewfinder for it because it does not have a viewfinder. So that's kind of cool. Now, they're saying that the release on this will be mid-June. So probably within a week or so, we're going to see it. We're not all going to see it, but I'll get into that in just a second. The price on it doesn't matter if you get silver and black or you get white and silver. The price is going to be 799 euros. 799 euros. If you convert that, it's about $1,000 if it was in the US. Now, there also is a bundle with a 14 to 32 millimeter. That's an f3.5 to 5.6 lens for $100 or 100 euros more at 899 euros. Now, I don't like the meandering f-stop lenses, but anyways, I don't want to get into that. It's a kit lens, so what do you expect? So the problem as I see it here is that this is very iterative. The previous model is literally the same thing. I mean, they don't give you a lot of innovation here, or I should say they give you no innovation. It's all iterative stuff with this camera. Now, the problem also is that it is only going to be released in Europe and Japan. The West will not get this camera at all for the foreseen future. Actually, they said almost definitely it won't be coming to the United States. That's not really great either, because there's a lot of people that are on the Micro Four Thirds camp that are saying, I want to get a new pen, or I want to maybe jump ship and go somewhere else. And I think that might end up being what ends up happening here. Because for me, when I look at this, it's just so iterative, it's lackluster, it's only going to be in Europe and Japan. It will not be coming into the Western market at all. And I will speculate that a lot of original Olympus fans that look at this, I don't care if they're in Europe or in Japan, they're going to say, this is just a small iteration. I'm not going to upgrade. It's not worth it for me to upgrade from what I have now to this. They're not giving me anything at all. And then the fans in the US are going to be like, maybe it's time for me to look for another platform. If I like this type of style, this retro feel, maybe I'm going to go look at Fujifilm because they have APS-C right around the same price, give or take a few $100s. right? So in my personal opinion, I don't think this was smart. I think that the new Olympus or the OM Digital Solutions should have waited a little bit and really made a big splash in the market and hit the entire globe, right? Hit your Japan, your Europe, but also the West in the United States, where people have been waiting for a long time for a new pen, and they haven't seen it, they're not getting it, and they're not going to get it anytime in the near future. That is definitely problematic. You know, I do believe that this camera was a holdover from 2020. It feels like a 2020 camera, and it probably was. It was probably a 2020 camera that's supposed to have came out, let's say mid-year last year, and instead they just held off because they knew that Olympus camera division was going to be sold off to JIP. Then JIP was going to create this new camera company, this OM Digital Solutions. So they probably just held off. And like I said, this is just let's say the last hurrah of Olympus prior to OM Digital Solutions taking the reins, let's say, and making their own camera. Does that matter to you guys? I don't know. I really don't know, because I don't think know what OM Digital Solutions will make once they make their first camera, in my opinion. That's the way I look at this. I could be wrong, but this is the way I look at it. So the best case scenario here is this was an Olympus camera, okay? The old Olympus company that is now a year old and they're releasing it. Worst case is this is actually an OM Digital Solutions camera. And at that point, I think it's problematic. But how do you see it? What do you think? Right? I want to know your thoughts. I'm not a Micro Four Thirds fan. You guys know that. For me, I have always said that for the money that you spend on Micro Four Thirds and having something just slightly smaller, in most cases, not all, there is a camera for everyone and for every situation. But in most cases, I personally think that going with like a Fujifilm APS-C or any APS-C mirrorless at this point is as good, if not better, because you're getting a bigger sensor, as going with a Micro Four Thirds. And I think that's where Micro Four Thirds is really going to start feeling the pain, is as the prices drop on full frame, it's going to cause APS-C to drop also. And as APS-C get to a point where they're lower than a Micro Four Thirds, most people are going to go with an APS-C or even a full frame instead of going with a Micro Four Thirds camera, unless they need something extremely small and compact that you get from a Micro Four Thirds. Other than that, I think going with a full frame or an APS-C now in 2021 is probably the way to go. Once again, what do you think about this camera? What do you think about the OMD, or let's call it an Olympus Pen E-P7? What do you think? Do you think the EP7 is worth the money? Do you think the EPS7 is going to be something that you're going to get if you're in Europe or in Japan? Are you going to pick that up, or do you think it's too iterative and you don't want to spend the money? And if you are in the US and you've been waiting for an EP7 or any other pen camera and you haven't got it, now months and months, years later, are you going to look at possibly jumping ship and going to another company? And if so, which company? So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this even a little bit. If you have, please throw it a thumbs up. That will be very helpful. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And click this little bell icon right over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. Also, if you want to contribute to the channel, click this little button down here that says join. You'll become a member and I can give you perks. You can provide $1 or $2 a month, whatever you so desire. And like I said, I can throw you a couple of perks here and there. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That would be very much so appreciated. And for getting to the end of this video, use promo code YT20 at checkout and you'll get 20% off everything in your shopping cart. Doesn't matter what is in there. Everything, not one thing. 20% off everything. Use promo code YT20 at checkout over at JCristina.com. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy.